Hi guys, welcome to the second episode of Never Drink Bad Coffee. Today I'm preparing the Barn Berlin coffee, Ronda coffee. I already measured up my 15 grams. Let's get into it. I'm gonna prepare the coffee at AeroPress. We're putting the coffee back in. Nice and fresh Ronda coffee. It's a medium grind and the water is 86 degrees Celsius. 30 seconds are up and we're gonna fill the AeroPress with water. I bought this coffee from Beans and Dots in Bucharest. Well, that's the most Berlin-like place you can find in Bucharest to drink exceptional coffee in a lovely place with great people and baristas. So by the time this jug is over, the episode will be over as well. So what I want to talk to you about today, I'm not gonna dwell in the technological stuff, gadgets and whatnot right from the first episode. Let's talk about what you need to brew amazing coffee at home. Wow. I wish I could serve you a cup right now. So what do you need at home to brew amazing coffee shop-like brews? First of all, the most important thing is actually the beans. Definitely. You need to get freshly roasted beans, which, I don't know, have been roasted about 1 week before you buying them. And definitely get a lighter roast. I mean, get a brew roast. Another thing which is essential when preparing coffee at home is the grinder. So, the grinder. Don't go for the cheapest grinder you find. First of all, you know, those antique coffee grinders or the electrical ones which you push a button on and they grind coffee, sugar, and whatnot. Those are not good because you do not have any input on what size the coffee beans should be ground to. So if you don't have a really big budget on your hands, then I would suggest to go for a hand grinder. Because first of all, the price is gonna be lower than the electrical grinders. There is a lot of manual work to do, but it's not that much, and you have a better control over the grind size. There are numerous brands which produce really good coffee grinders for someone who's on a budget. For example, Porlex is one of them. They have the Porlex Tall and the Porlex Mini. And then of course you have the premium, the expensive hand grinders like the Comandante I've used, Kinu, Lido, which grind faster, are more solid and more resistant in time and grind more consistent. Okay, so we've covered beans, we've covered grinders. Now let's talk about the scale. You can use any coffee scale. I use a Hario scale because to me it was the least expensive scale I could find and which supports having, you know, a cup on with a V60 ceramic as well. I think it supports up to 2 kilograms, which is perfect for brewing. So I would recommend buying a coffee scale with a larger base size so you can actually weigh the entire cup when you are pouring, because it's very important. And then of course you also have the very premium expensive scales like Akaya, for example, Akaya Pearl, which is pretty expensive, but you know, it's something you usually find in specialty coffee shops. So we've covered the beans, the grinder, and the scale. The next important aspect is the type of brew you want to go for. For example, you can go for an AeroPress, which I did at the beginning of the video. Now, the AeroPress is the kind of brew method which takes a bit of exercise. If you've never used one, or if you're a beginner with coffee brewing at home, you're gonna be a little bit frustrated because after the first times I've used the AeroPress, I could only come up with a very basic and not so interesting brew. But after you've exercised with the water temperature, the grind size, and the times in which you pour, then you're gonna come up with a really interesting brew. You may find the AeroPress for about 30 to 40 euros. Or you can buy a Chemex. It has a base something like this and an element which comes up like this. You use big Chemex or V60 filters for that one, which basically involves that you would just put the ground coffee in the filter and pour the water. Or you can go for a V60. I don't have a V60 right now. What I have here is the Gina Smart Coffee instrument, which is a bit expensive indeed, but I've been experimenting and I wanted to test this one out as well. This upper element is basically how a V60 cone, ceramic cone, looks like. V60 cones come in very cheap because some of them are made of quality plastic, or some of them can be ceramics, which are a bit more expensive. You just have to buy the filter for this, and it works just like the Chemex, but you just need to put a glass under it. So keep in mind that this base, this is part of the Gina Smart Coffee instrument, which is a more expensive one because it has a scale in the base as well. But normally a V60 would work something like this. You put the cone on a cup, you put the filter, and you just pour the coffee. And there you go, you just take the V60 cone out, and that's about it. So you have Chemex, V60, AeroPress, and of course you can use the, I don't have it here, but you can use the French press, which is also a very interesting method to use and involves using a very, very big grind. Out of all of these methods, honestly, for home, I would recommend the V60 because it's the easiest, least expensive method for you to obtain brew. Now, the Gina Smart Coffee instrument is a more expensive method because, as I was saying, it also incorporates a scale in the base of the maker. It also has an application which gives you recipes, puts you in touch with other people that make coffee with it. But it's an interesting piece of tech, and it's the way to go if you want to have the V60 cold brew method and also a scale incorporated, so you don't have to buy a scale separately. After you've bought the grinder and you've upgraded to the better coffee, let's say you don't have any budget left for a scale. Well, then there's another solution for you which doesn't involve a scale, and it's this coffee dripper. It's the Gabby dripper. Basically what this one does, it's made of two components, well, three if you disassemble it, and basically it's a very clever instrument. So you put the filter in here, you put 15 grams of ground coffee in the filter, you put this on top of this piece, so when you pour the water up until here, the water slowly flows into this part, and then it drips like a shower onto the ground coffee, and it creates a very equal and uniform brew. And as you can see, it doesn't involve any scales. You get a spoon with this one, and it has some marks so you know how many grams of coffee you're putting in. So basically you can use the spoon and estimate the grams of coffee you've used. So you don't need any scales, and you don't need to know how many grams of water you are pouring, because you know that you have 150 milliliters if you fill this one up. So that's about it for today, guys. I'm gonna have my last sip of coffee. And guys, I think this was the second episode. Talk to you soon, and thanks for watching. And hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you can receive notifications when I post something new. You can also add me on Instagram, NeverDrinkBadCoffee. Thanks again for watching, have a lovely week, and remember, never drink bad coffee. Bye.